Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I am excited to have my next guest. Robert is here, and we've had almost a whole interview before we started recording. But anyway, we have saved some nuggets for everybody. So tune in, get your notebooks out, okay? But Robert and I got connected through V Team Referral Network. So I'm excited to hear what's going on with him. He's in Canada. I'm in Georgia. I mean, we connected a couple of weeks ago, maybe, was it? Or maybe a couple months. Time just goes so fast when you're doing lots of things. He's busy. I'm busy. Hey, we're all busy. But before we get into some hot topics and great conversation, I want to give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Well, you're from Georgia and I'm from Canada. It's nobody references Canada according to the province or the city. They do, Canada, he's from Canada.
So true. It's like, hey, I know somebody from Canada, not thinking about all the different areas in Canada. Okay. It's like, do you know Kelly? Whoever, and you're like, what?
You must know Sherry in Toronto. That's crazy. Of course we know Sherry in Toronto.
So true. Okay.
So true. So I'm so far north in Canada that it's if you could do the calculation, and I'm speaking to whoever's watching this, if you could do the calculation, we in our winter time sometimes fall down to minus 30, 32 Celsius.
Wow.
So as hot as it's been across the US and Canada the past weeks, it's equally as cold in wintertime. But we're so far north that we just get an amazing sunshine in the brutal cold. So so it's kind of a trade-off. It's like, wow, this winter's awesome. The sun is shining every day. Yeah, but it's minus 30 outside. So it's like where I live in Alberta, Edmonton, Alberta, we think of ourselves as having two seasons. Actually, three seasons. We have summer, winter, and construction season.
Wow.
Yeah, but listen, thank you very much for inviting me. You're America's Supermom, and I'm so honored. I am so honored to be with America's Supermom. We're here with America's Supermom. That's
we're letting everybody join the party. We have been just having a good time. Great conversation. So talk to us about, we had some green room, right, type of things going on with the background. So let's put the background to the forefront so everybody can know what's going on with the background.
Yeah.
So we got Powerful Play. Now, what's that about?
Well, once upon a time, I said, Rob, enough with this employment thing. And I started a business for myself 14 years ago that I call Powerful Play Experiences, Positive Workplace Mental Health for Teens. So I'm all over the idea of play in the workplace, fun at work at home, and pushing the message that if we have more fun at work at home, more play in the workplace, that's good mental health. That's
excellent.
Good mental health. Play, fun in the workplace, good mental health. So I'm pushing the message that one of the most cost-effective and enjoyable ways to address workplace mental health is to bring more fun at work at home, more play. And you know all about.
I know all about it.
You know what? But listen, as America's Supermom, you are wired for play.
Yes.
You are wired for, and in describing your family to me, you must gravitate to play so organically, so naturally, and just to keep that baseball team of yours, the number of She has more children than a baseball team.
This is so funny because we met at V Team and we do our 1-minute commercial. So I'm like, I don't understand how he didn't know I had 15 kids, everybody. But that's another thing. I think people just zone out. They're just like, they're thinking about their commercial, what they're going to say when it's their turn. I don't know. But I say it. I put it up there first thing and people are like, what? Something's going on. But I love this whole thing about play because, see, I was one of those serious moms at first. You know, my life is like pre-depression, post-depression. It's like a totally different person. But, you know, I was like, I didn't have time for play. You know, it was like, I got this checklist, stuff's got to be done. So you got people who are watching us that are like, I understand the play, but, you know, I just can't play at work. I have so much on my plate. How do I incorporate playing?
Well, now hold on a minute. Now just hold on a minute. What if you rethink play and think of work as a derivative of play, a form of play, right? So
yeah.
Versus, well, we do work and then we do play, right? Mm-hmm. I remember I pursued a recreation leadership degree and a recreation leadership diploma here in Canada. And at that time, we were taught that work and play were separate. Right. Separate. So I was preparing myself through my studies to become a recreation leader, which essentially meant I worked when you played. So when you were at work, you would come to a rec center, a fitness center, an outdoor ed program, and more. And I would facilitate play, some sort of recreation. Today we know, and we know that for the savior of our mental health, right? And looking at it from a holistic way, it all comes together. And I'll bet if I asked you, tell me a story of how you merge play and all the responsibilities of raising a family together in a harmonious way. How do you do that? Because I can't fathom having just a beautiful family of that size and scheduling work and scheduling play amongst just so many individuals. So somewhere in your life's journey, in your home life, you must be bringing in play and work and harmoniously merging it, knowing that, and maybe you don't use these words specifically, knowing if you can maintain mental health optimism, your family, your kids, you and your husband, you're in a good place. But you don't schedule. You really schedule play. Am I correct on that?
Yes. And I think, you know, you have to be mindful of that. I love the things that you're bringing up because it is a mindset. You know, so often.
No, hold on. What's a mindset?
The mindset about work being fun, you know, and incorporating that and making time for that. Yes. Because, you know, I just laugh when I'm doing podcasts.
Time out. Anytime you talk about work or play or fun, catch yourself not using the phrase time, because that's another error that we make. It's human nature to schedule work and to schedule fun, right? So the challenge that I have with employers here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, is they're still on the old school system that we play is a reward for work, fun is a reward. So we work, and then we schedule play, and then we come back to work.
Right.
And then and so they're putting it into time slots. So when I
try to compartmentalize it when you can weave them together.
Okay, so now come back to your story and catch yourself not using the word time. Can you do that?
So true. So I wake up every day thinking of how I want to feel. And that's the guide that I use every day in creating those experiences throughout the day.
Wow.
So whether it's certain things that I do with the kids or certain things with work, or, I just look at what do I want to accomplish? What's going to help me do that? And it really is more of a feeling rather than being so, I don't know, structured. It is, I do have routines and things and systems, but it really is more of a feeling that helps me to be in alignment, because I make connections with people that I never would even think to connect with. People would probably be like, now, what do you guys have in common? Why would you guys want to be on a podcast? Right. But I just gravitate based on how I feel with people, and it enhances my days.
And you're giving away right now. You've just given away one of the most amazing secrets of America's SuperMom. You've given away a secret, right? And you used the word experiences. Did you hear yourself say the word experiences? Mm-hmm. And when you married the word feelings and experiences together, I did the same thing when I first started Powerful Play Experiences. I knew that if I can ignite a feeling through a series of play experiences, how can we shift people's minds? Or as you said earlier, the mindset.
Love that. I'm taking notes, because that was a nugget right there. Okay.
That's a nugget. You know what? We're going to charge the audience for that.
Right.
Right there.
And it's so true, because the experiences are the things that live on beyond that moment.
Which is time, which is the schedule, right?
Right.
The moment or the many moments, right? So when businesses contact me, sometimes I find it quite surprising, because they'll say to me, do you need an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 6? And so you can see how they're removing the feeling, the experience, and they're putting it into a box and suggesting that fun and play has a defined beginning, middle, and end. This is when we start the fun at 10 a.m. and then we end it at 12, and then we go back to work, right?
Exactly.
And we take fun and we put it on the shelf for another time slot. You and I don't operate that way.
So true. And I mean, the productivity, I would think that it would go through the roof.
Why?
Because
reference your own story. Why would it go through the roof? Because of your own personal story.
Well, I think it's more like you kind of like gravitate towards creating more of those experiences. So you begin to be more creative and think about how you can recreate it in different ways. And I mean, you're unlocking a different way of thinking.
Coming back to mindset.
And
what is the different way of thinking? We've talked about it. How do we summarize it? Because we said, lead with the feeling. Build experiences. Build experiences around the feeling. Don't promise yourself that you won't lock it into a time slot from beginning, middle to end, because experiences need to have freedom to weave and wind their way around the people who are experiencing the feeling. Right.
So true. And I mean, because, it's like not being married to the outcomes. That's one of the things I always say.
Oh, my. That's amazing. That's another nugget.
Because when you're not married to the outcomes, you give everybody freedom to engage authentically in the experience, which could be even greater than what you imagined.
Here, so find it.
Do I get a cookie?
No, you get a shining star.
All right, okay.
Shining star.
Look, I'm a high achiever, so you had me at the star, okay?
Knowing you're a high achiever, I just brought a bucket of with me. I knew that I would be giving out a lot of and I brought you one of my fun flowers. So because you need variety. Yes. High achievers, those who inspire others through experiences that just feel right. They need creativity. They don't follow the straight line. They need different.
So true.
Yeah, and I mean, look at what's behind you.
Yeah, it's a bunch of junk.
You didn't hear that from America's SuperMom.
It is so true. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. I'm trying to downsize. I have all kind of stuff behind me, but but we're just going to pretend I collect banks. So that's kind of like what's up at the top.
Okay.
That little taxi thing. I was on the Rachel Ray show. I don't know if you know Rachel Ray.
For sure I know Rachel.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I was on her show. So every time I go out of town and stuff, I like to get things that, help me remember things, from the moment. So that was a taxi like from New York. And that was my Rachel Ray coin bank that I got.
Well, if your friends, your audience, your followers, your listeners, your viewers are hearing that for the first time, everybody stand up. Big standing up. Who am I? I'm just some dude from Canada.
You are something else. No. What is your favorite dish that how did you find out about Rachel Ray? She helped me learn a lot of cooking meals because I sure didn't know. Okay.
I don't know. It's just on. I think she's on TV up here. I know you think we all live in igloos when I'm running water or something. Oh, we didn't say hockey, but we do actually have television. Or whatever it's called. Look, I want to come back to your stuff. Sorry.
I'm loving this. We got the chapstick going on.
I used to live down east in Canada, in Montreal. I grew up in Montreal. That's where I'm from.
Look, give chapstick a little shout out, okay?
Shout out.
We got a sponsor, okay?
My lips were always moist when I lived down east, but now I live in a dry part of Canada. You never leave home without chopsticks.
Okay. All right.
But it's play. It's play, right? Look at us.
I'm just saying, yeah. This is, and they talk about women, okay? They talk about us always with the lipstick.
Oh. You know what? My anxiety levels raised to out of control levels if I've lost my chapstick.
Yes. Seriously.
Okay. I want to celebrate the play that's behind you because, again, mindset, right? We can call it junk. We can call it, trinkets that I picked up on my journey. But what it really is, it's a thing that captures the playfulness that you had in that time. Right?
True.
And helps you to reclaim the memory and hold on to the memory.
Yeah.
But it's a form of play. If you were a kid, you'd never say, "Oh, that's junk behind me."
It's so true. Yeah.
You would have said what?
There's a lot of little mementos.
Right. You might have said, "Oh, those are my toys," right?
Yeah.
So now, as an adult, to say, "Oh, look at all the toys I have in front of me," there might have been a few risks for you.
I love Gumby. Yes, that reminds. I'm thinking about Saturday Night Live now and Eddie Murphy. Okay.
Oh my God, that's a good one. Yes, that's a good one. That is good. Well, we have the Gumby.
Okay.
Gumby, and then Gumby.
For every stage of life. I love it.
Every stage of life. and the other thing about play, is human beings are just naturally drawn to play.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say to play, first I'm using it as a verb, to play, the verb, but I'm also saying the noun. We're naturally drawn to play.
Right.
Right. Come the weekends when we schedule play, people are thinking away from work, with their family, with their friends. They're all engaging in play. So if we can shift that mindset from the world of work, with the belief that play addresses or helps elevate mental health optimism, which in turn can lead to joy in the office, joy in the workplace, right? Happier teams, happier relationships, which in turn can help the business. I mean, employers need to make that big leap. You and I have already made that leap.
I love that.
Your audience has made that leap. By the way, do you use that word audience? Because if it's not the word to use, I won't be using it.
Yeah, audience is good. Now, so my thing is, let's say that you're that employer that has that separation between the play and the work. What are some ideas that we can begin to gamify or funify, right?
Oh my Lord! Right? Wait a minute! Wow! Did you just make that up?
I just made that up.
Oh man! I got my board here. Let me write that. Funify.
Funify. There you go.
You can invoice me for that.
Okay.
So interesting question. Funify. How do we funify leaders? How do we move leaders to a funify attitude?
Yeah.
Well, the folks that you've described aren't contacting me, and that's the shame, right?
Oh.
Because there's the belief is that fun at work, or as we often say here in Alberta, fun at work at home, because so many of us are working at home.
Yeah.
Work at home carries no value. And in a sense, it gets in the way of work to be done, right?
Right.
Being that Alberta is a oil and gas industry driven province.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, so you'll often hear in Alberta, just get her done. Just get her done. Right? So to say, well, how do you move leaders to a more open or a different mindset around the value of fun and play in the workplace? Well, you're dealing with a multitude of years and generations that has been always about the oil and gas industry and get the work done. So I find that I need to tap into the industries and the people within industries that are very social, right? Education, right? Not-for-profit youth-serving organizations, healthcare, conferences.
I see.
So those are the people who've already bought, or social workers is another.
Definitely. Yeah.
Social work. So where people already believe in the value of play, for whatever reason that facilitates happy in their workplace, they're the ones picking up the phone and calling, or they're the ones firing off an email. So
I see.
Yeah, it's sort of, what did you say earlier? You need to, it was very cool before we
started recording.
Thank you. That's it. Manifesting.
Yes, manifesting.
So explain that again in terms of what I just said, that distinction between those who are already sold on the idea and those who haven't arrived there. What do you mean by manifesting? Because I believe I'm receiving inquiries from people who've manifested. Or so what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think, what's coming up for me is that it's a journey. So, for example, you have an employer who doesn't understand how to funify. However, they can connect with you on what are the results of funifying. Yeah. So, for example, you want to go to another part of Canada. Let's say you want to go somewhere else, Toronto. So you're clear on the destination. So maybe with the employer, they know they want to increase productivity or number of clients or whatever. The vehicle that you're going to use is the Funify vehicle. So they don't know about this vehicle, but they can definitely relate to you on what that vehicle is going to get them to. So we talk about where they're going, and then we educate them on the journey that they're going to take to get there, because it's something new. It makes you unique. You stand out from everybody else.
So I was asked to do a two-part, we'll just call it an online workshop, with a particular company, and with their staff, and simply because we cracked. The intention of the 2-evening workshop was to begin starting conversations around mental health in the workplace. But the online workshop had to have elements of fun. So when I say to you, fun or funify, or the journey or the destination, where does mental health in the workplace fit into all of that? Because that's the other piece that is that's a new idea, to say, well, we're going to come in and play, and we'll have fun. Oh, and by the way, we'll crack open, we'll discuss, and we'll play with the topic of workplace mental health.
So you have two options. You can, what they call is twisting the knife, and that is talking about the problem. So it's like, are you dealing with low productivity? Are you concerned about, business going down? Are you concerned about company morale not being high? Do some of these things sound like they're happening in your industry? And you just keep twisting the knife. You might want to try giving us, attending one of our workshops, or listening to this promo or sizzle or whatever that is, or taking this assessment to see if this sounds like your, company or organization. So that's twisting the knife. Or you can build up the outcomes. Are you ready to take advantage of a new outlook for 2021? COVID's got you down. You've got this great team. You want to show them your appreciation, but you want to build for life after COVID. Wow. You don't have a vehicle, whatever. This is the funify way. I'm just using that word since we.
Wow.
So either one, you can go either way.
My face on the first description, she's sucking the energy out of me.
Right. So then you have the solution on the first one, and then that same thing for the second. But whatever energy, I think if you sometimes talk about the problem, they're already stuck in the problem, and it really is like a negative outlook.
Yes.
They think everybody's got a problem, and it's like, it's so hard to build them up. But if you go with where they want to go, you got to help them dream. So then their expectation is like they already are starting to create their own dream, and so they're moldable and easier to just transform, if that makes sense.
Wow, another secret message from America's Supermom. America's Supermom. You've given away your secrets. I hope you wrote that one down.
Yeah, I just think, that's just a part of marketing. See, that's what I got my degree in, is marketing. But I think so often we are in the situation that we forget that we are helping the people that are in that problem state. And when you are having fun, you don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution. And sometimes it's hard to remember that's a different language, kind of like.
It's fascinating that you're bringing this forward. When I began Powerful Play Experiences 14 years ago as a workshop facilitator, professional speakers, I was a member of a professional speaking association at that time, advised me to, when creating content for your website or publications, when writing articles, always define the problem, the problem. And I couldn't foresee myself going down that path, because I've always felt that fun in itself and play in itself is just a wonderful energy that takes you out of the negative and immediately into the positive. And people will figure that out on their own. They'll figure out what the problem is. They'll articulate it on their own. And through fun and play and relationship building, through fun and play, the energy is higher. The happy level is higher. The engagement level is higher. The connectedness is higher. The funify is higher. So I took the direction that you're talking about, which it's to play off the experience and the feeling. And I'm fascinated. I continue to be fascinated today when whether I'm building relationships with people through social media or receiving inquiry. I'm fascinated when I have a conversation with the data and information personality type. We need the data. We need the info. We need to know how we're going to get there, and we need to know the outcome. I'm fascinated when I meet these people and they're okay organically with play. And that I love, because the social aspect of the personality is not the dominant piece. They're about data and information. I need data, information. But when they turn to me and they say, but I see the value in play and let's bring it into the workplace, to me, that's awesome.
Yeah. And, it's about showing them small behavior changes that they can measure.
It was again something I love you said a minute ago about getting stuck on or marrying the outcome.
Right.
And how could you actually come up with an outcome when you bring 25 to 50 people together to play in a team building workshop? So I often say to the team leader, just describe what the team looks like at the end of the workshop. They're leaving the workshop conference room, or they're leaving the workshop room. What are they doing? What do they look like? What are you hearing? He said, well, I'm hearing a lot of laughter, and there's a lot of high fives, and and people are connecting and smiling and appreciating, the good energy in the room. Okay, now I know where you want it to end up. Now I know where you want it to end up. And at the beginning, or at the end, what needs to be different? What needs to be different? So
I think it's being able to connect.
Yes.
Outside of work things. So
and why do you say that?
Because they're able to forget about work. They're able to have fun. See, people don't want to let their hair down at work. They don't say certain things at work. They don't tell people their business at work. There's that separation between work and life.
So
when they're able to enjoy life in a work setting, that is that's just definitely an over the top experience, because they normally don't have those.
Right. So what does it produce? What's happening with the brain in that moment, right? There's elevated.
Well, for one, it's definitely going to create a lot of endorphins, because they're not going to be expecting those.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's going to cause that feeling to be with whatever people that they're around. It creates a new neural pathway, I guess. I'm not a doctor, but
no. And
so don't go saying she said this.
And we both aren't, but we know that chemistry in the brain will change, ultimately impacting how I engage you and how you engage me. Listen, you and I are not talking about anything more than knocking on your neighbor's door or whatever you did when you were a kid. Where I grew up, we lived in there was a row of duplexes in the neighborhood. You just knocked on the door of your neighbor, your best friend, and you said, "Do you want to come out to play?"
Right.
And together you went to the park. Maybe you invited another friend and you went to the park. And maybe the park had swings. Maybe it had a sandbox. Maybe it had a teeter-totter. Maybe it even had what we used to call an outdoor wading pool. And maybe it had other kids who you had never met before. And the sheer act of playing on the slides, the teeter-totter, the swings, created an engagement with other kids. So everybody arrived as strangers, but you left as friends.
Right.
You now made new friends. And it was the play and the fun that was, as you said, the journey to a much happier place, new relationships, new friendships, new ways of problem solving, new ways of being creative at the park. Think of all the skills that you had to apply when playing at the park. And so you and I are just playground leaders. That's all.
Yes.
That's all. America's SuperMom. She's nothing more than a camp counselor. That's all she is.
Amen. Amen.
Look at the beautiful. Do you call it I hate to call it a bow tie because I know it's not a.
Yeah, it is a bow. Look, sometimes it is a bow tie because I'm all about recycling. Okay, so I can use it as a bow tie, as a beret. I do a lot of stuff.
We'll call it the ultimate recycled beret.
Right.
Yeah. Another America's SuperMom secret.
I can turn it into a bracelet. You know what I'm saying? So
You're getting away.
It's all about having fun, right?
Well, and you know what? I love how you just said that. You went, it's all about having fun. You know how many people say to me, they say, Rob, we need more fun in the workplace. I think we should do a workshop and we need to elevate fun levels. And I say to myself, I see where the problem starts. Right. You're just not a heck of a lot of fun right now.
So true.
So true. These are just, there's no budget required for this, my friend.
So true.
It's so simple. Look, today, simply because we lead with playfulness, and that's a personal, that's a descriptive word of my personality type, right? I am playful, right? America's SuperMom, she is playful. So leading with playfulness first will shift the energy. Will change,
true.
Right?
It's like setting the stage for the atmosphere.
So give me an example.
On your attention.
Well, give me an example of that in your personal life or your professional life where you lead with playfulness.
Every day, because I laugh at myself. Most people are stressed out doing video, right? When they have to do podcasts or any kind of recording, and it's just, this is the key too. You want to be in a position to where you are a guide and people are their own hero. See, nobody likes for
example.
See what I'm saying?
Give me an example, a real example. The last time you led with playfulness. Why?
Right now. No time like the present, okay?
Oh, you're too funny. You're too funny. You're too
I'm
funny.
just saying, that's another thing. People go way back in some stuff like, I went somewhere. I forgot where I was. Maybe I was on a Zoom call or something. And no, it was an interview. We were doing interviews for a new principal. I'm in the school council. And we gave a question about when was the last time you did X? And this person said 5 years ago. And I'm thinking, what? You can't think of anything between now and 5 years ago with everything we've been through. That doesn't impress me. That's somebody saying, well, I got it together. It's been 5 years ago since I made a mistake. And I'm thinking, hey, I made one this morning. Okay. I don't have to go back very far, but that's what I'm saying.
She totally needed to register for America's SuperMom 10-session program, right?
But do you know what I'm saying though? If you gotta really go back and dig deep for some mistake, I mean,
okay, so
we need new content.
Take a moment here and let's just have fun with that story. So when you now think about her playfulness, her ability to lean into Spotify.
It was a guy. Just saying.
Oh, it was a guy. Even better. Even better. Yeah. Well, it was a guy. For fear of the, if you look bad, if you said something recent. Right. So let's start again. So when you think about this gentleman, how would you evaluate his own perception of, or his own belief around playfulness, funnification, authenticity?
I think maybe authenticity, yes, but authenticity for, high achiever, no room for error, very traditional. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would think. Because, based on his performance and things that were on his resume, of course, stellar. But, when you listen to things like that, it's like the bar is set for perfection. And that to me is like a stressful type of environment,
So let me a couple of other things and we'll wrap it up. So when you think of that situation, here's a new term that someone introduced me to. And the term is confident vulnerability. Confident vulnerability. So whether you think of that situation or others, what would you like to tell your audience around some of the cool things that we've talked about today?
So good.
In relation to confident vulnerability.
Yeah. Confident vulnerability is being willing to show your hand. So by that is, what are some things you're struggling with? Because you will acquire more of a following by being relatable and having the same thing in your hand that the people that you're talking to you do. Because everybody has something in their hand that they don't want to show. They're hiding behind masks and all this other stuff. But when you show your hand, I don't know, there's just that connection that it just really penetrates a lot deeper.
See, when you show your hand, well, you got me thinking. Like I thought, God, there's another America's SuperMom secret, right?
Yeah,
showing your hand, and I could build a whole, webinar series, writings, the comic, all about showing your hand.
Let's show your hand so you can get a high five. That's what you would say.
Oh, and showing your hand is all about confident vulnerability. And I give that to you. You can use that.
Awesome.
And I won't even invoice you.
Okay. Play is the fastest, most accessible remedy for anyone, any adult experiencing mental health challenges, for it alone frees the soul from pain, sufferings, and hardships, and thus creates space for joy and happy to step in, ignite our spirit energy.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome. You wrote that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
so that's your mantra?
Well, it totally
mission
is.
statement, vision statement.
Yeah, mission statement.
I love it. Mine is a life without excuses is a mindset for greatness.
A mindset without excuses
is a mindset for greatness.
Mm.
Because, you know, there are no excuses. We tell ourselves so many things. I can't do it because of this and that. So if you have a mindset that nothing is going to be an excuse, you're going to find a way to get it done.
I'll have to sleep on that one.
Okay.
I'll have to sleep on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And like yourself, but differently than yourself. I live with and manage depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And there's at least 4 generations of diagnosed mental illness on both sides of my family. So what you just said around there are no excuses, I'll have to think about that one because first of all, the word excuses is not typical. It's not a typical word that I might use. So I'm wondering your mantra might stick to me a little bit better, knowing that I need to work through my own mental health challenges. But maybe we could find another word for excuses, but still.
Okay.
So help me with this. Help me with it. A mind without.
See, because the excuses get you stuck. They stop you. You know, it's like, oh, I didn't have time to do this. Or how about this? A mindset with pure truth. See, I had to get rid of the ego. So like, you know, we'll have like mental health days. So there's going to be days where I'm not feeling good. And it's not that I'm sick. I tell the kids, hey, we're having a mental health day. So it's the thing about being truthful.
Yes.
Without the story that I may be telling myself. You know what I mean?
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. A mind grounded in your truth is a mind in action moving forward. Because your truth does not have to be in your truth. You whatever that truth is, we could be okay with it,
right?
And what I mean by that is, here's a great button. Let's see if we could get it. Can you see?
Not myself today. Love that.
So if I'm not myself today, and that's my truth, I'm confident in my vulnerability around that feeling, but yet my mind is a powerful tool to take action and move forward.
I love that.
But that's why I didn't like the excuses, because I could find them, I can create them.
Yes,
which was in absence of the truth.
Right.
And how I heard what you said. But when you said it from the truth perspective, it's like, okay, it's okay. I'm not
myself today.
I'm not myself today.
Love that.
That is my truth. Now, what do I do with that? Well,
now I'm loving all the watches. What's going on with that? I just noticed that. So, we're keeping up time all across the world. Is that what that's about?
Yes.
Or do you collect watches?
Well, This
You
is
collect time. Okay. You collect
it's
time.
yeah, that's the time again. It's a Mickey Mouse watch.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's so darn old. They don't even have the parts to fix it.
Yeah. So does it have the right time, or it's stuck at one time,
Yeah,
in the day when it's right?
Yeah, it's stuck at 10 to 5.
Right.
Stuck at 10 to, and we're over time right now, and according to my watch, we're way over time.
I'm loving it though. Yeah.
And you might like this is a Disney World Magic Band.
Oh, so you collect Disney stuff?
Well, we travel to Disney World as frequently as our budget will allow it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, is that the one in California or Florida? I get them confused. I've been to both, but I get them confused.
Yeah, Disney World is in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, so okay, we've been there.
Disneyland is in Anaheim, California.
Right. Okay.
We've been to both, but I highly recommend everybody to do Disney World. Disney World. And that's the ultimate playtime for my wife and I.
Awesome.
That's the ultimate playtime. And we tend to go at the height of the winter season.
Right.
I traditionally fall into what is commonly known as seasonal affected seasonal affected disorder? Mm-hmm. Which means the depression begins to make its appearance. It starts to get dark here in Edmonton around 4:30, 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And we don't see the sunrise till potentially, 7:30, 8 a.m. the next day.
Right.
And so the darkness. So we use Disney World deep into the winter season as our hey, the sun, the warmth.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we miss Disney World.
Awesome.
This year and last year. So I don't know how are they doing? Is it open?
Yeah, I think it is open. Yeah, I haven't. I don't watch the news, so
another secret. America's SuperMom advises us to never watch the news. Right?
It's crazy. I live in a bubble. So my husband is like, have you heard whatever? And I'm thinking, look, I don't need to watch the news because you tell me, or my kids tell me. So I always stay in the know. So it works out for me.
Well, let's have fun by ending off with what's the most surprising piece of news that had you go, wow, no way.
I'll tell you the most hilarious.
Yes.
Okay.
Due to the fact that you lived in a bubble. You've been living.
Right. This is funny. Okay. So I do these podcasts. So I have this tendency sometime where I have my automatic scheduler, but then I run across people that say, that time doesn't work for me. So I schedule it on my paper planner, right? So I schedule it. Well, sometimes I get so caught up that I schedule it. I'd schedule it verbally, but forget to write it down. So I had a connection who sent me a message and they were like, hey, just checking on you. Wanted to see how things are going with Sally. And I'm thinking, Sally, man. I'm just using this example. I'm thinking it was Sally. I can't remember. But so I'm thinking, who is Sally? So I'm going through my messages. I'm looking on my planner and I'm thinking, man, who is Sally? So finally, I just couldn't figure it out. So I messaged them back and I said, who is Sally? And they're like, the hurricane that's supposed to be, the weather. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I had no idea. I'm looking in my planner. Beating myself up. LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm trying to figure out where did I forget about this person? And it was the hurricane they were talking about. So that's a real life story. Yeah.
That's a great one. Oh, by the way, are you aware of the hurricane? Are you aware of the tornado?
It was so crazy. Yeah.
No, and I did notice a little bit of wind outside.
It was raining and everything. Of course, we had it was going to affect us as it progressed through the states. But yeah, that was hilarious. So yeah, that was my experience with not watching the news.
Okay, give me one more that when you heard the news, you heard the particular news item, you said to yourself, wow, we've made huge advances in the world around that. I never knew that technology or that thing actually existed, because I live in a bubble and I never knew, like, for example, maybe you said to yourself, wow, I didn't know that they self-defrosting fridges. Man, I never knew that, but something that was so surprising to you simply because you're in the bubble, you weren't kind of up to speed on some technology.
Now that kind of stuff, my husband is always like telling me that kind of stuff. Okay. But I think another thing was, we were a part of that gas shortage that happened a couple months ago.
Yes.
So I'm at home. I don't really go out much with this COVID stuff still. And my kids were like, Mom, you know that there's no gas or something. And I'm thinking, what? Yeah, Mom, something happened, some kind of infiltration. So it was a couple days later that I went out, and then driving around seeing that there was no gas at the gas station. And I was like, wow, this is really happening. So yeah, that was another one. So yeah, my kids, they tell me everything and I'm thinking, what? Yeah. So that kind of stuff. What? That was another one. Yeah.
That's, if the audience, if you're not laughing with us, then oh man, I'm going to put this back on.
Okay.
And listen to me. I'm wrapping it up. I'm going, before we wrap it
I know. I love it. You're like getting in character. Got to get your uniform back on. That's great. I mean, it works out. Got to end it the way you started. I like that.
So
mental health optimism. I love it.
Yeah, I made that one up too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have that one.
Yeah, because I'm like about mental wellness. But I like the mental health optimism. That's good.
Why? Why do you like that? Why do you like that as opposed to mental health wellness or mental wellness?
I like mental wellness, but I think that is kind of like when you say mental health optimism, it is more like, really kind of leading people to where you want them to go. Because, you can have this optimism, but it's the optimism related to your mental health, and it's causing them to be more engaged.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of I like words and certain things. That's just my thoughts, and I don't know.
I'm always interested how I made that one up. I'm interested how people how they feel about that.
Mm-hmm. I'm loving like I'm feeling like I'm at school with the start the conversation. Okay, I mean, this is like this is good.
What's up with that?
It's like commercial breaks. Yeah. Start the commercial. I mean, start the conversation. Yeah.
Yes.
It does start the conversation because people are like, oh, what is that? And then that gives you a good segue to say, hey, how is your mental health? Because people don't want to talk about it.
No.
They don't know how to talk about it. That's another thing. They think, well, I'm not crazy. So that's all they think is really what's about, not knowing that they could be going crazy if they don't make some changes.
And for those reasons, I get a kick out of wearing my not myself today, but
yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, just to see what kind of reaction it will,
right. That's definitely
conversation starter.
Absolutely.
So, you just don't seem like yourself today.
So true.
And we all can do that. We all can do that.
So true.
And here's my last one.
Tap and talk for positive workplace mental health. Like that.
So tap it here. Come to the screen. Tap and talk.
Okay. Uh-oh. I'm going full screen here. I love it.
Yeah. I bring these to workshops or presentations, and I
Mm-hmm.
just walk around the room, and tap and talk for positive mental health. And what a great conversation starter.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
a kid once said to me, he had one at home, and he kept it with him wherever he went, at home and outside, just
Mm-hmm.
to see how he can get it as a tool to start the conversation. Right.
That's great.
Again, it was fun. It was fun and it was playful, and so we leaned into it with such ease versus let's sit down and talk about.
So true. That's great.
It's
This has been a great interview. And for those of you that are watching, I'm sure you've had a blast. Lots of ups and downs and laughing and everything. What's the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
Oh, you know what? Pick up the damn phone and just call me.
Okay.
Area code 780-297-4103. I live just outside Edmonton, Alberta, Canada,
Mm-hmm.
in a community known as Beaumont,
Mm-hmm.
small city, Beaumont, Alberta. It's about 10 minutes south of Edmonton. You can email me at robert@powerfulplay.ca. You can find a Powerful Play Experiences Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Manolson, Manolson, a Facebook page. I'm on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole world is on LinkedIn. And
a lot of people aren't. I'd say LinkedIn, they're like, what is that? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's an Alberta thing.
You know what, that could be, because there are a lot. I have a lot of connections in Canada that are on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Well,
it's growing. Yeah.
We feel so isolated, right? I mean, we're a massive country, that is much larger than the United States of America, with a smaller population, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of space. So
yeah.
LinkedIn is a great way to stay connected.
So true.
www.powerfulplay.ca. And as I say to everyone, there's not a lot of content on my website. I've put many videos because I want people to see fun in action, fun at work, at home in action, and to get a sense of how we play with mental health in the workplace. And you know what? Sometimes it's not even about mental health. It's just come in and play with the team. They're an awesome team. And let's just give them a mental health break from everything, and let's have some fun for the day. And
love that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So what final words do you want to share with everybody today? We've given them a lot of nuggets, but what do you want to close it with?
Well, I want to close it with this. We met once, you and I, just once. And, like some formality, I put my hand up and said, "Oh, I'll do an interview with you. I'll do an interview with you." And, and within a couple of days there was the email. I guess I'm in the club. I'm in. And it's just, wow. And that was quite a while back. Right. And like yourself, I wrote it in my day timer, and here we are today. And, you are amazingly, and I'm not going to use this positive. It's all been said. But why I referenced how we met and being here today is that we both entered into this playtime together. With a sense of playfulness first. We led with playfulness, right? And that in itself was an awesome relationship building, tool, strategy thing to move this forward.
Yeah.
And knowing your values, we checked our egos at the door. Not to say that once we leave the room, we put our egos back on. But we're not driven by that. And if you lead with playfulness, very difficult to lead with playfulness and an ego. So I want the audience to know that the power of playfulness,
Mm-hmm.
Even with two people who have only met once,
Mm-hmm.
how easy the conversation was, how energetic it was, and how it continues to be energetic together, and respectful and friendly.
Yeah.
And all that came about because we led with playfulness.
So true.
And coming out of COVID, I don't know the situation in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you all the best. I
Yeah.
wish you all the best, and I wish that when you find your space within inside you,
Mm-hmm.
feel at ease to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
That you bring your playfulness with you wherever you go.
Absolutely.
That's your gift.
Oh.
Well, it's so visible. It's so
Mm-hmm.
you can see it, you can feel it, but you've never really put it into a word. You've probably used other words to describe. Yeah, I'm positive. I want to empower people. But everything about you. Where you are, how you look, the barrette. The laughter.
A nice way to say you're too old for that barrette, probably. No.
Sharon, she's wearing a barrette. I don't think I've said that word since. I can't even remember the last time I said barrette.
It's so funny. Like my granddad would say, you'd ask him how old he was. He passed away when he was 90. But he would say something like, well, I'm 30 with, 60 years of experience or something. He had the number low, right?
So now I know where some of that playfulness comes from. Because he would like to play with his age.
Exactly.
Play with the feeling and his experiences with age.
Yes.
And put it out. Remember, he said words are powerful, and you love
so true.
And he put it out in words that stopped you in your track, and you went, "Oh, that's kind of a playful way of looking at life."
Absolutely.
And that's why he lived to 90. And that's
true. So true. Yeah.
So true. So if tell everyone, lead with playfulness and see what happens. See what happens.
Love that. Well, this has just been wonderful, Robert. So glad that you were able to join me. And, we had 2 interviews and one without recording, the other one recorded, great content. But we want to thank everybody for watching with us today. Yeah. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll make sure that Robert gets them and gets those answered for you. But in the meantime, remember to have play and share this video. If you know somebody who needs a laugh, just share the video. It doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free and it can help brighten somebody else's day. So we want to thank everybody for joining us and we will see you all on the next episode. Bye for now.